By Allah, when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam knocked on his door, he immediately came out looking pale and lifeless. Muhammad sallam said to him, "Give me what you owe." He replied, "All right." Then he went inside, brought what was owed, and gave it right away. The leaders of the Quraysh were shocked when they heard about this incident. They asked Abu Jahl, "Aren't you ashamed? We've never seen such behavior from you before." Abu Jahl replied, "You don't understand. As soon as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam knocked on my door and I heard his voice, I was filled with fear. When I came out, I saw a massive camel standing over me. I've never seen such a huge camel in my life. If I had refused, the camel would have devoured me." Some people would always make fun of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. About them, Allah revealed this verse, "Indeed, we are sufficient for you against those who mock you." Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 95. The mockers included Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, Uqba bin Abi Mu'it, Hakam bin As bin Umayyah, the uncle of Hazrat Uthman Razi Allah Anhu, and As bin Wa'il. One of Abu Lahab's bad habits was throwing garbage at the door of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day, while he was doing this, his brother Hazrat Hamza Razi Allah Anhu saw him. Hazrat Hamza Razi Allah Anhu picked up the garbage and threw it on Abu Lahab's head immediately. Just like Abu Lahab, Uqba bin Abi Mu'it also used to throw garbage at the door of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day, Uqba spat towards the blessed face of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but the spit came back and landed on Uqba's own face. The spot where it landed turned into a mark that looked like leprosy. Once, when Uqba returned from a journey, he hosted a grand feast and invited all the leaders of the Quraysh. He even invited Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the food was served, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam refused to eat and said, "I will not eat until you say, 'There is no God but Allah.'" Since hospitality was a very important tradition for Arabs and they never wanted to upset their guests, Uqba said, "I testify that there is no God but Allah." After hearing this, the Prophet ﷺ ate the food. After the feast, everyone returned home. Uqba's friend, Abu Jahl, heard about what had happened. He came to Uqba and said, "Uqba, have you left your religion?" "By Allah, I am not a believer. I haven't become a Muslim," Uqba said. "It's just that an honorable man came to my house, and he said he wouldn't eat my food unless I testified to the oneness of Allah. I felt ashamed that someone would leave my house without eating, so I said those words and he ate. But the truth is, I didn't mean those words from my heart." Hearing this, Abu Jahl was still not satisfied. He said, "I will never look at you, nor let you look at me, until you insult Muhammad, spit at his face, or harm him." Uqba replied, "I promise I will do that." Later, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came in front of Uqba, the wicked man tried to insult him and even spat toward him. But his spit didn't reach the blessed face of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Instead, it came back and landed on Uqba's own face. It felt as though a burning coal had hit his face, leaving a mark that stayed with him until his death. About Uqba, Allah revealed a verse in Surah Al-Furqan. On that day, the wrongdoer will bite his hands and say, "Oh, how I wish I had followed the path of the messenger." Surah Al-Furqan 37. Scholars explain that this verse means the wrongdoer will chew his hands in regret in hellfire. When he finishes one hand, it will regrow, and he will chew it again, repeating this endlessly. Another man named Hakam bin Az also mocked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day, he walked behind the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, making silly noises with his mouth and nose to make fun of him. The Prophet ﷺ turned to him and said, "Be like that." After that, Hakam's face permanently twisted into the shape of the noises he had been making. So after that incident, Hakam bin Az started making strange noises from his mouth and nose, just like the ones he had made to mock the Prophet ﷺ. He remained unconscious for a month, and even after regaining consciousness, the noises continued until his death. Similarly, another man named As bin Wa'il used to mock the Prophet ﷺ. He would say things like, "Muhammad and his followers deceive themselves, God forbid, by claiming they will be brought back to life after death. By Allah, death only comes because of time passing and the cycles of life." There is another story about As bin Wa'il. Hazrat Khabbab bin al-Arat, Raziallah anhu, was a blacksmith in Makkah who made swords. He had sold some swords to As bin Wa'il, but As had not paid him yet. When Hazrat Khabbab went to ask for the payment, As mockingly said, "Khabbab, aren't you following Muhammad's religion? Doesn't he claim that the people of paradise will get gold, silver, fine clothes, servants, and children as they wish?" Hazrat Khabbab, Raziallah anhu, replied, "Yes, that is true." Then As said to him, "I will not pay your debt until you deny Muhammad's religion," he said.